And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Oh yeah, it's my 65th birthday present to myself. I just gotta say this, Esther, you're even more beautiful in person than on the tapes.
Oh, that's awfully nice. That's us speaking to you.
I know that's true. All right. So I just first have to say thank you. During lockdown, I live alone, didn't have a boyfriend, still don't. No kids, grandkids. And a friend of mine had been trying to get me to listen to Abraham for years. I'm like, well, that's very weird. You know, they speak through Esther, and I don't know, I didn't get it. So what changed? My life is unrecognizable because of you, Abraham. Unrecognizable. The first thing that happened was about 2 months in. I went, I'm getting $10,000. I don't know where from. I don't have to work for it. I'm getting $10,000. I got 20. My best friend had a cousin we didn't even know was sick. She didn't know she was sick. She's like the meanest person ever, but she had a lot of money, and she left my friend like $1 million. And so my friend paid off my car, my credit card debt, and my school. And it came to like $20,000. The next thing that happened during the pandemic was I realized that I'm a very gifted Akashic Records reader. And that wasn't that long ago. I've been doing it about 1.5 years. I already have clients in 6 countries. And it's like the most fulfilling thing ever.
What are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic Records are the records of a person's soul that have existed from the beginning of time. And the idea is that every experience that a person had while housing that soul is contained in the records. And what I am able to tap into is the wisdom that soul has accumulated through all these years.
You're tapping into the inner being version of who they have evolved to be.
Say that again?
So you're tapping into their inner being's version of who they have become.
Yes, and who they're meant to be, or who they, yes. It's very powerful. And then I just have to...
do you have a question for us?
I do. So, my question is, I really want to go on the New Zealand cruise. And I absolutely know that's going to happen. And it's like this. I bought the ticket to here, didn't have the plane fare yet, didn't have the money yet. It all came together.
So what are you all hearing underneath this conversation? Is it a prosperity conversation or a not enough conversation? So something's got to change.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is, do I buy the ticket first to the cruise and then get the plane ticket and then get the cruise, or what? Because the money comes in, like, not all at the same time sometimes. But I just told you it came in all at the same time.
Can you feel that the intentions are in the vortex?
Yes.
Now your work is, we're going to give you something very powerful here, because what you're describing, we hear it often from people. Our friend talked a little bit at the very beginning of the conversation about how at first a lot of things seem like they're unfolding, and then it sort of seems to taper off just a little bit. So I want to give all of you, and especially you, an understanding of how best to approach this business of receiving. So if you get it, that whatever you're asking for is queued up for you, and that your work is to do the best job that you can of getting into alignment so that you can begin receiving it. So when things are really lined up, meaning you've found patterns of thought that aren't pushing against, which you have not found yet, because while you talk about what you want, you also have a bit of underlying what-isness that you are peppering into it, which is slowing it down, and it's causing you to get too heady about it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Instead of just more in the state of allowing it. It's more like deliberate goal setting, where what we want you to focus on is it's already done. Now your work is to allow it to come to you in the path of least resistance.
Okay.
So what that means is you don't jump at every impulse, but those impulses that are undeniable, you follow them, and they always pan out. It takes a little trust, and it takes some practice for you to sort out for yourself whether it was just an impulse or whether it was a strong, undeniable, nothing in the world is going to keep me from doing this. But those are the impulses that you want to follow. Now, a lot of times when you hear us say that, and we have not said it that many times, but we could feel it even bubbling up around this room, there is a thing that happens to you where you're not sure that you'll know, or you kind of doubt that it will come because you don't have any experience under your belt yet where you've had that undeniable experience. But we promise you, if you will just set an intention that it's in the vortex, it is coming to me, my inner being's on my team, my inner being knows that I want it, my inner being knows that I'm worthy of it, my inner being will guide me to the path that will lead to the path that will lead to the path that will lead to the path. And a lot of those first paths, it's not time to manifest, but it's the path for the next path for the next path for the next path. And then after a little while, that trending will be so strong that something will come through in a very strong way. Did you say to us just now, to all of us, that someone gave you $10,000?
20.
Someone gave you twice as much as you asked?
Correct.
And did you say to us that she got that money from who?
Her cousin who died.
And what did you say about that cousin?
She's really mean.
A
She's like
really
the meanest.
mean person. That slows things down. The reason that we're bringing that up is because a lot of people feel that way about a lot of people that have millions of dollars that they are handling or moving or giving to someone after their death. In other words, there's a real trend that comes from wanting something that I don't have yet and trying to explain why I don't have it yet and sort of defending the injustice of why I don't have it yet, which takes on lots of forms, like it's my parents' fault, they never had any money for me to inherit. But what we're really getting at, as you listen around, you hear a lot of bashing of something that you really want. You want prosperity, and yet you push against those who have it. And maybe that person was mean. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a jealous rumor that's been going around for a while. Oh, so you're really right about it. You're really right about how mean.
Well, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. And the $10,000, I knew I didn't have to earn it. I just started to say, it's
We're
coming.
just saying.
It's coming.
We're just saying you have stuff, everybody does, stuck in your vibrational craw that as you release it a little bit at a time, in other words, when you get to the point where you're leaving out the mean part of that story, you'll know that you've cleaned up your vibration a bit, and that will help. Because we know for sure that it's part of the demonization of people with great wealth. And you can't be a seeker of prosperity and a demonizer of people of great wealth and have clear vibration about it. There's resistance in the mix that makes it come harder to you than it needs to. So that's our encouragement. Expect it, you already do. Don't defend it, you are doing a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Don't try to explain nothing to nobody, because the law of attraction doesn't need any explanation. You're asking for it and you deserve it, and it is coming, and that's all you need to know. Now, if you were 4 years old or 5 years old and we were having this conversation, you would just believe us at face value just because we're pretty. You would just believe it. But you've had enough life experience with enough things that haven't worked out that you have collected and are in your Akashic records. Now tell us about these Akashic records. When you look into those Akashic records, is it just the good stuff that's there?
That's pretty much what I see.
That's what's there.
That's right.
And so even your own Akashic records don't have the story about the mean lady in them.
That is true. That's true.
Really good.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Yeah.